Wagnificent.
Welcome along to our latest instalment from the Wagnificent Pets podcast series. Today I'm talking with Lisa Tonks, who is a fully qualified dog trainer. I'm asking her some of your questions you've been sending in to us and a few that I've thrown in myself. So first of all, as Cilla Black would say, what's your name and where'd you come from?
Hi, I'm Lisa Tonks from Paws for All Dog Training. I'm an APDT member and a TTouch practitioner.
So tell me, how did you first become a dog trainer?
I became interested in dogs when I got my first dog and got intrigued at how they learn. Then my second dog was a bit of a handful and I needed help. Couldn't find any help, so started doing courses online and went to see people and changed my life.
Should all puppies attend a dog training class, and what's the ideal age to get them started?
To get them started, starting should start straight away. As soon as they're born, get them used to being handled. The training comes in as soon as you can get them following you outside to the toilet. So training starts immediately. As far as classes go, as soon as it's safe to take them after vaccinations, I would recommend researching classes, find one that you're comfortable with and go for it.
What should you look for when choosing a local dog trainer?
Yeah, check out their qualifications. Make sure they're qualified as a dog trainer and not as a nail technician, for example. Go and watch their classes. They should be quite happy for you to go and watch. Look to see if people are happy with them. Make sure the dogs are happy. Make sure you gel with them. Make sure that you like the person.
I have a rescue dog. Is it too late to bring him to training?
No, it's never too late. You can always teach an old dog new tricks.
My puppy keeps biting and nipping me. What can I do to stop it?
Whatever you decide to do, you need to be consistent in what you do. The best thing to do is just to stop play. Stand up, keep your hands and your feet or whatever it is in and still. If you can leave the room, do that. Don't chase your puppy or grab your puppy. It's just going to accelerate the biting behaviour. The dog just finds it fun. It doesn't understand that it shouldn't be doing it. Maybe making a squealing noise might work for the first 3 or 4 times, but then you just become a squeaky toy. So just stop play. The dog wants to play with you, so the punishment is you're stopping the play.
I have a new puppy who seems to keep waking at night. Sometimes he cries, sometimes he doesn't. What age should he really be sleeping through the night?
Yeah, everybody wants to know this one. There is no answer to it. The first thing I would do is make sure your dog is comfortable where it's sleeping. So it might mean that you introduce a crate to the dog, so you start teaching it to go into the crate by feeding in the crate. The crate might need to be moved to your bedroom just to start with. The dog really has got to learn to settle on its own. They're social animals. They want to be with other dogs or with you. So learning to be on their own is huge. Some dogs, a little light left on or the music left playing, but never ever punish a dog if it's getting stressed. And they say don't go back to the dog when it's crying. Go back downstairs, wait for there to be a break in the crying, go in, put the kettle on if it's in the kitchen, and then acknowledge that you've seen that the dog's there. They are crying for a reason. It's cruel to ignore it.
I keep hearing a lot about crate training. What is crate training and what are the benefits?
Okay, a crate is normally a metal cage that you can put your puppy in. I highly recommend these. One, don't think of it as a cage or a crate. Think of it as a dog's den. Cover it over. They like dens. They feel safe and secure in them. Also, if your puppy is in a crate, it cannot be learning or getting up to mischief. They're really great as well that you can move it around the house. You can take it with you wherever you go, and the dog then has a safe place that it can go when it doesn't want to play with kids anymore or another dog. They're ideal.
How long does it take to toilet train a puppy?
How long's a bit of string? Different dog, different breeds, different ages, male, female, all different variances here. You've just got to be consistent. It's unusual if it's over 20 weeks, they're still not got the idea of it. But again, be consistent, don't punish it, reward when they get it in the right place. I'm kind of on a not sure about puppy pads and training your dog to go to the toilet on puppy pads, because then you then have to retrain it to go outside. What I would suggest is really spend lots and lots of time every hour when the dog's awake, taking it outside, rewarding it for going to the toilet outside, bringing it back in. Every time it's eaten, take it back outside. It's been playing, take it outside. It's just woken up, take it outside. It is time consuming, but worth it.
I've been reading a little bit about separation anxiety. I feel a bit guilty when I leave the house, as my puppy always looks so sad. What's the best way to depart the house to minimise the upset to both the puppy and to me?
Give the puppy something to do. Look for triggers that might start off separation anxiety, like picking your keys up, putting on certain shoes or coats. Get rid of those triggers. But really, if you just leave calmly, don't kind of give the dog a cuddle and say, oh, I'm really sorry, I'll be back soon. Just literally just say, see you later, I'm going shopping, and go. And when you come back, exactly the same. Nice and calm. Don't go over the board with them when you get back.
More questions from people who subscribe to the Wagnificent Pets newsletter now. Should I let my dog sleep in bed with me?
Why not? If you're quite happy to have to wash your sheets regularly, then why not? There's so much research out there now that says it's good for our house to have dogs sleeping with us. However, I personally don't want to have to wash my sheets every day. I've got 2 dogs. One's a bit of a smelly Labrador. So, no, it's restricted. They get up and have a cuddle on the bed with me every Sunday morning with a cup of tea. But other than that, they sleep downstairs, wherever they want to sleep downstairs.
What is the best age to get my puppy used to other animals, such as household pets, horses, sheep, that sort of thing?
Straight away. You really want them to habituate to animals that you don't want them to socialise with. So wild horses, rabbits would be a great one that they ignore. You want them to be social with animals like your cat and other dogs. So straight away you need to be teaching them what is the right behaviour around these animals.
I have a 6-month-old puppy who will not stop barking at everyone and everything. How can I stop him?
Every dog's behaviour is there because at some point it's rewarded. So if your dog's barking at people, it's because it's getting attention for the barking. What you need to do is remove the reward, so remove the attention. So whether you turn away, you leave the room, you've got to get rid of that reward. That's the only reason those behaviours are being kept alive.
Brilliant, thank you.
Oh, also, make sure that the dog isn't worried. So you really want to work out what's causing the behaviour. So if it's feeling threatened or scared or it is just being playful, it wants attention, work out why they're barking and then deal with it.
It's becoming a real struggle to walk my dog because he pulls on the lead so much. How can I stop him pulling?
Pulling on the lead is a natural dog's behaviour. They've got something called negative reflex, which means that as soon as there's any tension on the lead, they will lean into it. The best way to train a dog to walk nicely is to teach it off lead first and then attach your lead. It is hard work. There's a lot of training required in there. There's no easy option. It is just training, training, training. Alternatively to that, there's harnesses that have got 2 points of contact, which actually works with the nervous system, so that every time they lean into one of the connections, you melt that connection, so there's no tension, and then you squeeze on the other connection. And you keep doing this alternatively until the nervous system stands in balance, or the dog stands in balance.
So that's using a double-ended lead and a harness to fit?
Double-ended lead with a harness. The connections are normally on the chest and on the back, just behind the shoulder blades.
My dog growls every time anyone goes near him in the kitchen when he's eating. What can I do?
I want to know why. Is it because the dog is touch sensitive or is food guarding? If the dog is food guarding, is he guarding the bowl or the food? Normally in these situations what's happened is somebody's picked the bowl up when the dog's been eating, thinking that, you know, this is part of training. It's a very old-fashioned kind of idea. What I would suggest is that you have 2 bowls. You hold a bowl, you put a empty bowl on the floor, and you start adding to the dog's food bowl. You can get people to walk past at a distance that the dog's not growling and chuck maybe a piece of chicken towards the dog. So start to give the dog a different experience with people going near the food bowl. So people are adding rather than taking away. And you start building this up really slowly until you can actually touch the dog when he's eating. And it's a good experience because he's looking for more food rather than worrying about you taking it away.
My puppy is scared of some household objects such as umbrellas and ironing boards and the Hoover. How can I stop him being so scared?
Again, teaching him an alternative behaviour. So get out the ironing board, leave it propped up against the wall, and every time the dog looks at him, tell him he's a good boy and give him a treat until he's literally going up to the ironing board and nudging it and then turning around and going, where's my food? And then lay the ironing board down, get the dog to walk over it or pause on, give them different experiences. It's probably the noise with an ironing board and with a Hoover that's caused the issue. Some people think it's quite funny sometimes to scare a dog with opening an umbrella in its face because it's part of socialisation. Then it's not good. It's not good to scare dogs. So giving them a different perspective of it. So, you know, the ironing board comes out and, yay, where's my biscuit? Previously, with a dog that was petrified of hoovers, we took the hoover completely apart, and even the dog was showing fear when we plugged the plug in, but the hoover was in 20 bits across the floor. What we found worked was actually taking the hoover out onto the grass and pretending to hoover the grass. So the hoover was moving around the grass. And then we moved it onto the patio and then in through the patio doors. And eventually the dog accepted it. But it was all done with food and rewarding the dog.
That's brilliant. Okay, so when I'm rewarding my dog, as we practice positive reinforcement through reward, what treats or toys would you recommend?
It's what your dog wants, what your dog desires the most to make them work the best for it. So I would like to go on the natural side. So you've got ham, cheese, chicken, liver. Those would be the best things. Some dogs will work for bits of carrot. There are some really good quality produced treats on the market these days. But no, cook yourself some liver cake.
What are some of the main training mistakes that you see people make and that you then have to fix?
Okay, so one of the biggest mistakes is people think the dog understands them. They don't. The second one is, especially with reward-based training, they think that the food is the important part of the training. It's not. It's marking the behaviour that's going to earn them the food or the reward. So whether you're using a clicker or a marker word being good or yes, that needs to be at the precise moment that tells the dog that they've done the right thing, that's earned them the payment of the treat. That really is reward-based training. It's not that you're just giving them food for doing something.
Okay, a bit of a controversial one then. Are there some dogs that are brighter or more easy to train than others?
Yeah, definitely. It's more the dogs that would be classed in a puppy class as the hooligans or the disobedient ones are the easier to train because they want to be doing something. The dog that's laying there kind of looking up at its owner lovingly but doesn't want to do anything, that's going to be hard work. So you naughty the puppy, the easier it is to train.
I'm sure that's going to be a relief for anybody listening to this, for sure. And are you going to name and shame some breeds?
I think the harder, the more intelligent your dog is, the harder you've got to work at training because the dog is going to go self-employed and find its own thing. So the easiest to train dogs are... I don't want to upset anybody here. A dog that's willing to work is easy to train.
So that's a bit of a cop-out then. Okay, my dog keeps digging up the garden. How can I stop him?
If your dog enjoys digging up the garden, buy him a sandpit. Put some sand in it, hide his toys in there, put a stuffed Kong in there. Make sure you get one with the lid on, especially if you've got cats. Otherwise, the reward is always the cat poo. Or just dig a big hole and put some loose soil in there. If your dog enjoys doing something that's a natural behaviour to dogs, give them a way of doing it.
Will my dog be distressed if I leave him when I go on holiday? Would you suggest leaving him with family, a home boarder, or maybe a local kennel?
Okay, it's whatever you're comfortable with. So if you're worried about it, then your dog's gonna pick up on your worry. So if you've booked yourself a cruise and then you've booked your dog into some kennels that you've never visited before, your journey to that kennels is really gonna dictate how your dog settles in that kennels when it gets there. My advice would be pre-plan, test it out, check that you're happy, and book your dog in. I've used dog boarders, kennels, and family to look after my dogs, and they're always happy to see me when I get home.
What's the longest time my adult dog should really be left at home alone if I'm heading out?
Again, it depends on the dog and it depends on how long you've left them up until that time. So if your dog's used to being left for 5 hours a day, then you can leave it for 5 hours a day. But if your dog's only used to being left for half an hour and then you're going out for 5 hours, then that's unfair on the dog. So building it up, your dog will get used to whatever you put in place. Personally, if I was going to be leaving my dogs for any more than 6 hours, then I would want somebody to go in maybe on the 4th hour just to let them out in the garden, say hello, maybe have a cup of tea, and then lock them back up again. But if your dog's used to being left, as long as you've put in provisions so that they can go to the toilet, then the amount of time you need.
It's a real tricky one to answer, isn't it? I mean, generally we do 4 hours.
Yeah, I wouldn't say no to 6 hours, but if you were working every day from 9 till 5, then I think that that's quite a long time to leave your dog. I think that someone should really go in at lunchtime and let them out.
We're due to have a baby soon. What is the best way to introduce our dog to our new arrival so that he doesn't feel jealous or threatened in any way?
They're human emotions. It's more going to be your reaction when you come home with this new baby that's going to dictate how your dog's going to bond with it. If you are worried, I would put stair gates up to start restricting where your dog can get to before you bring home the baby. You can buy some really good CDs with baby crying noises on if you think that your dog's a bit noise sensitive, so you can start playing those so the dog gets used to it. Restricting where your dog can sleep, so if you're intending to have the baby in your bedroom, the dog's going to be stopped from going in your bedroom before the baby comes home. But just spend time with your dog. You know, when you've got this new baby, if you spend time with your dog and let the dog sniff the baby's clothes, then there shouldn't really be a problem.
Do some puppies and dogs benefit from one-to-one training more than group training in class?
Yes, definitely. Classes aren't for everybody. Some dogs have had an experience, whether it was in their litter or a socialisation class at the vets, so a one-to-one would be better for them. It just depends on what the issue is and the dog's personality.
Do you see a difference in dogs' behaviour and general well-being depending on what they are being fed?
Definitely. What you feed your dogs, the fuel that you put in, has an effect on their behaviours and their health, just like children. If they're on a really poor quality diet, they can have problems with concentration, are hyperactive. Just the same as you would think of with children and us.
My dog keeps begging for food when people are eating at the table. How can I discourage this?
Management. So put the dog somewhere away from the dining room table, or if you eat sat watching the TV, give your dog something to do. You can give your dog a bone to be eating whilst everybody else is eating. Don't reward it. Again, the behaviour normally comes because somebody at some point have given them something. From, you're eating a bag of crisps and they've given them a crisp or given them a biscuit. They've dunked the biscuit in their cup of tea and handed the dog over the biscuit. So the dog sees the opportunity that it might get another biscuit. So it's that behaviour reward. And whatever dogs do, it's because that has previously had a reward for it. So thinking if you're going to sit down to dinner and the dog's pestering you at the dinner table, give the dog something to do away from the table, like a stuffed Kong or a bone, and make sure that nobody speaks to the dog when you're sat there, no one feeds the dog from the table.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you ever so much. Lisa Tonks, fully qualified APDT dog trainer and a Tellington TTouch practitioner. You can check out Lisa's website. It's pause4reward.co.uk, and the 4 is a number 4. That's pause4reward.co.uk. Don't forget, here at Wagnificent Pets, we've got tons more podcasts coming your way, including interviews with qualified dog groomers and with dog nutritionalists as well. Some fascinating interviews coming your way. Just keep your eyes peeled on wagnificentpets.com and through our social media channels on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and Pinterest. Thanks for listening. Wagnificent.